Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot. The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by MediaClip, Advertech Printing, and School Photographers of America.
Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Marco Torres of MarketingBoost.com. Marco is a lifelong entrepreneur starting from age 9, and he's primarily been in the travel industry, and today he's going to talk to us about creating value for your business and how to compete. Hi, Marco. How are you today?
Hey, Gary, glad to be here. I'm a wannabe photographer, so most of my images are probably dead pixels. But anyway.
Well, I think we might connect you with some people who can help you out with that. But first, talk a little bit about your story. You said you started as an entrepreneur at age 9. What did you do then, and how did you get to where you are now?
So I started out as a paper route, and I was just the other day, I was cleaning out my dad's garage. He's no longer with us, may he rest in peace. But going through his stuff, and I found a folder with my name on it. It reminded me that, oh gosh, I was featured on the front page of the local newspaper for building the biggest paper route they'd ever seen at the time. And so then I went on to open and own 5 restaurants and a nightclub. By the time I was 23, got involved in internet marketing to kind of speed through my life, because I'm no young chicken. I'm 62 now, but got into the internet marketing in 1995, 96, very early adapter for internet marketing, email marketing. I was a spammer before they called it spam. I was doing millions of emails a month when everybody used to love email. They all had AOL accounts. So I've generated over $1 billion in sales for my clients or my own businesses along the way. So I kind of have a feel for what makes people click and take action, purchase online or in person, and hopefully I can bring some value to your audience.
So talk a little bit about the travel incentive piece of the business that you kind of launched and created.
Right. So what I launched in 2017, because as you mentioned, I've been in the travel space since the mid-90s as well. We launched and this is something that can relate to everybody out there. When we first launched this idea, it came about kind of as a side product. We wanted to generate video reviews for our travel website, which was at the time becoming one of the fastest growing travel sites in North America. And we were scratching our head wondering, what could we do to motivate people to go the extra mile and give us a video review of our resorts and hotels that we were promoting? And we came up with an idea to offer them a bonus trip. And you'll see how this relates in a moment. It became an incentive that we later turned into a standalone business. But what we did, Gary, and this is something any listener out there who's got any kind of business could learn from, is you need reviews, right? You need social proof. You need written reviews, video reviews.
Exactly.
And you got to solicit them. If you're not asking for them, you're not going to get any. And typically, you're only going to get the ones that are not happy. And so then you've got to worry about, resolving the client who's not happy versus soliciting reviews. So what we did, we came up with a strategy of doing a survey when people when we expected our clients to be at the peak of their happiness. So this relates to any kind of business, whatever you sell, product or service. When you expect your client should be at their peak of happiness, that's when you should do a survey asking them how you to rate you. How are we doing so far?
Right.
And in our case, we would do it the day after check-in. So if they we'd ask them, rate us from 1 to 5. How are we doing? If they gave us a 4 or 5, we were immediately responding back with, wonderful. Can you help do us a huge favor? Help us spread the word about our resort partners and if you'd film a video testimonial, we're going to give you a complimentary bonus trip to your choice of Orlando or Las Vegas. And that took off like crazy. Before we knew it, we were generating dozens and then hundreds and then thousands. We now have over 30,000 video reviews, more than any other travel website in the world. And it was essentially because of the process of doing the survey and, of course, the incentive. And then we had those folks raising their hand going, hey, we want, how do I get that free trip? So now we had to dig into our pockets and pay for those free rooms that we had promised. So now we're scratching our head going, well, how can we reduce the cost of that? So we went back to these hotel partners of ours and said, hey, you have a problem and we know we can fix it. We know that your hotels, you're never full. You're full on certain weekends, peak season, holidays, but 70% of the year, most of your rooms go empty. There's at least 30% of your rooms go empty for the majority of the year. So we can put some warm bodies in those rooms, couples, families, individuals that'll spend money at the bar, the restaurant, the casino, the spa, the gift shop, the excursion desk, etc. And they agreed, and we eventually had a few hotels partnering with us in Orlando and Las Vegas, and now we could fulfill those free trips we were giving away. Then we thought, holy smokes, can you imagine if we could convince dozens or hundreds of hotels around the world to participate with us? We'd have another standalone business. And that is basically how marketingboost.com came about. Today, what we do is we provide travel incentives, complimentary hotel stays in over 125 destinations around the world, from 3 nights to 7 night stays. We provide hotel savings cards that come in increments of $1, $2, $3, and $500, and restaurant savings vouchers. And so the key is what do you do with these travel vouchers? You don't have to be in the travel business to be able to use these travel incentives to add what we call the wow factor, the delight and surprise factor, to stand out from the crowd with your business, to enhance your offers, to create loyalty programs there, to continue to shop in your store, your online retailer versus somebody else's. There's a million ways that I can get into, Gary, to kind of show clients, whether they be obviously in your space in the digital, the camera and photography industry, or whether they be in you name it, selling. I've got people from using our services that are from lemonade stands to car dealerships. So it fits the entire realm.
So real quick, how were you managing the video testimonials? Was that part of the Google review platform, or how did you want to do that? Because I wasn't aware. If they're doing through Google, I wasn't aware that was an option.
No, with Google, it's just written. So what we did was we actually used another third-party service that I currently use called SoTellUs.com.
Okay.
And SoTellUs is a platform that makes it real easy and there's various companies out there that you can use this for, but they make it real easy for the client to click and film, from their camera, for example, from their phone, to film the video, the selfie testimonial, and immediately publish it to your page.
Okay.
And so now you can be soliciting the video reviews, putting them all over your website, putting them into your emails campaigns, using those video reviews in a variety of ways to prove your social, to create that social proof. And of course, written reviews, you need to continue to generate those as well. The other thing that we did, which is very powerful, is that we would throttle these reviews. I told you about that survey process that we would do. And then we would also, and this is a tip any business owner can use. We would, in that survey process, if they gave us a score of 4 or 5, we make it easy for them when we were sending the requests for a review. And there wasn't always a video review we were requesting. We would send some links to Google reviews and make it easy, telling them, here's the link where we'd like you to post a review, yada, yada. We'd send them to Trustpilot, SiteJabber, Shopper Approved. We'd send them to wherever, again, throttle them wherever we need them to these third-party review sites, which is huge because that's going to give Google what they need to start lifting your main website above competitors, because there's third-party reviews about you. So that's a powerful tool for SEO marketing as well, as you throttle the reviews here and there.
Why did you decide that reviews were that important? What was the data you were looking at? They're saying, listen, to goose our SEO, we need to up our reviews, and specifically video reviews. What were you acting on? What was the intelligence you were acting on? Because I think a lot of business, especially the ones that I talk to, know reviews are important, but they don't emphasize it as much as they could because they don't realize what it could do for their business.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in our case, we had a specific pain problem that we had to solve. And that was, at the time we were a startup. And when you're a startup and you start doing a lot of volume, we had some negative reviews that popped up. And we had And of course, Google gives them top ranking, and it was negatively affecting our business. And of course, then they lived there forever. And so we're like, wow, we need positive reviews to bury those negatives, right? And control our online reputation. And of course, so one, that survey process that we invented, it gave us the ability to find out quickly if we didn't get a 4 or 5, we knew we were able to jump on it and fix and solve the problem for the client.
Could you fix it like while they were on the trip, for example? Let's say they're complaining about something about the resort they were at. Could you actually act on it that quickly?
We could certainly, yes, and we could certainly try on their behalf, right? If there was a room that they weren't happy with, they didn't like it, wasn't clean enough or whatever, although we don't own the hotels, we could jump on the, line, get on the hotel management and fight for, on their behalf to save their reputation and ours before we ended up with a negative review. And then we had that problem to solve. And then, of course, we knew if we had the video reviews all over our website, that would give us that social proof that people could believe that, that we were, as big, or as, why book with us versus Expedia or somewhere else. We had to give them that video review, positive testimonials. And that became something that turned into a huge machine for us, literally turned into, millions of dollars in additional sales over time.
You work in other industries, right? You help other industries. What are some other types of incentives that a business could offer? In the photo space, there's a lot of promotional stuff, right? Like X% discount or free prints or, that sort of thing. But I'm interested more in the value-added approach. What are some of the value-added ideas that people could possibly adopt?
Well, I'm no expert in your industry field but I've got a number of wedding photographers that use our product incredibly well. They go to the trade shows, etc. One of them in particular, what he does is he includes the honeymoon trip in the offer. So he's like, hey, you book your entire package with him for the photo shoot, the videography, the editing, the whole ball of wax, and it's close to $5,000 purchase, and he includes a 5-night trip to Cancun in the mix. And again, when we created this win-win-win, it's a win for the resorts that are participating because we're helping them fill rooms that would have gone empty. Right. We are the client, somebody's paying the government taxes for them to check in. There's no timeshare presentations or anything like that. So It really is a win for the client. It's a win for the business owner that uses our service, and it's a win for the end user who's getting the discounted or complimentary hotel stay. Yeah. What I would give you an idea on creating these value versus discounting. I'll give you an idea. It reminds me of kind of retail. I got one guy he's a gun dealer, and he's been killing it with our service. I relate with guns with cameras because they're expensive, investments to buy And how do you stand out from the crowd when you go to a gun show and everybody's got the same guns? Your competitors
exactly.
got the same
camera
lenses.
Dealers run into the same thing.
They got the same cameras, same lenses, and it's all about price.
Right.
So instead of discounting prices, what this guy at the gun shows does is he's got his signage that says, purchase any firearm and get a complimentary hotel stay in one of the following destinations. And he stands out from the crowd and everybody else at the gun show. And he's killing it with, being able to explain, look, there's, here he shows them the certificates and boom, boom, boom. You buy a camera today over $500, you buy the lens over $500, and you get a, choice of 3 nights in Las Vegas or Orlando. If you buy over $1,000 worth of equipment, you get your choice of 5 nights in Hawaii or 5 nights in Cancun. And so you create that added value and you're no longer having to discount. You're not fighting over a few dollars and well, I could get it online for $10 less. And you're now saying, look, hey, with the purchase from us, you're getting, we're throwing in this complimentary hotel stay on us. And you got to throw in some disclaimers. What are the disclaimers? Hey, airfare is not included, food and beverage is not included, and neither are the government taxes and fees. But we're giving you the complimentary hotel stay. And so with a simple disclaimer like that, you're giving, you're adding value to your offer. You're getting full price for your promotion or what have you, or you're creating a loyalty program. Maybe you're making it, people come into your retail store online or in person, and they typically maybe spend $150 per transaction. You were wishing it was $1,000. So maybe you come up with a point system, and you say, look, if The moment you spend $1,000 with us, whether you do it today or you do it over the next month, when you have over $1,000 worth of purchases here, you're going to earn a 6-day, 5-night trip to Cancun, Mexico, or Cabo San Lucas. So you've got that, you're hanging that carrot and keeping them shopping back with you versus going down the street to the next corner store or the next online retailer. So that's just and then there's use for, I think some of you we mentioned before we went live that some of you guys that are doing classes online. They can be doing, if you've got a Facebook group, this is another huge way. I've got a ton of members that are growing their online following. And I think a Facebook group would fit real well with photography type equipment and what have you, where you're building an audience that's going to learn about how to use the equipment, what it's how this works, how that works. And so they've used our incentives to grow the audience by running contests every week. Hey, we're giving away a trip to Cancun next week. The following week, it's 3 nights in Las Vegas. The next week, you invite for every time you invite friends to join this group, you earn a chance to win the trip. And so you can create this engagement and this excitement around these complimentary trips that have a very high perceived value that don't cost you almost nothing with your Marketing Boost investment. There
are a few standouts in the camera business who actually do like trips. Like they'll do, they'll organize trips for 10 or 12 people, and it's like a safari, and they'll go their trip and they'll take the pictures, but not everyone has the capability to do that. So I kind of like this idea of a travel incentive idea, because photography and travel go hand in hand. One of the things that I think is kind of interesting to talk about is the travel space is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the most competitive spaces there are, because there's how many websites out there that are just beating you over the head with Priceline or whoever, and once you've signed up for them, they never let you stop. And then there's the airlines who are coming after you at every minute. And then there's a rental car company that's coming after you every 10 minutes. Photography is a lot like that too, and the way it's being marketed too, especially output, right? You have 10,000 canvas companies, plus retailers, plus everyone else. How do you stand out specifically, like I said, without discounting? And we've kind of gone down the travel incentive. Are there any other ideas you have for getting your business to stand out?
Well, one of our biggest clients is a retailer of printed canvases. This may not be the right fit, but he actually throws in the bonus right with the purchase. It's simple. It's like $120 canvas purchase and or more, and you earn your choice of the following destination trips. And just a simple you buy, you get. Right. And so that's one way. The hotel savings vouchers are, I always promote use micro incentives for a micro call to action. So we have the 3 categories of incentives, and you could also obviously create your own incentives.
That's what I was thinking. People want to create their own.
Yeah, so you can create your own incentives, such as maybe it's your photography classes, right? They don't really cost you that much compared to your equipment. And if you can get people into the photography class, then they're going to end up buying your equipment. Again, when it comes to incentives, it's adding value versus discounting. So, sign up for the 1-day class and get the second and third class free. In other words, create that added value with your own promotions. And then you might throw in and sprinkle in, obviously biasing, promoting Marketing Boost here, but whether or not you use Marketing Boost or not, adding value with your own incentives or other incentive products is key. So maybe it's a sweepstakes you create with a camera or some equipment you're giving away of your own.
Yeah, there's almost always a lens giveaway or something like that.
Right. You got a lens giveaway and that kind of thing. And you do that often enough, and it creates that, you're generating the leads and so on and so forth. But you could enhance that, for example, because your camera lens is valued at, $800, whatever it might be. And now you might say, plus, we're throwing in a 5-night trip to Cancun and the camera lens valued at $2,000 grand prize here for those who sign up for, you using that as your lead generation. So you're capturing, data that you can then use in your email, text messaging, and automation process to get them into the flow of joining your class. And
so they really have to be able to connect the dots. I think that's really one of the challenges I see for a lot of the independent folks is, are they maximizing if they're having a class, let's say on, flower photography, and you go to the local arboretum and maybe you have a few lenses there, but are you connecting the dots to, getting all the participants' emails? And then what are you doing with that information? Are you doing a follow-up? And, is there like a flow chart or something that is out there that people could follow to like check this off? Because I haven't found it that's been useful.
Yeah, no, we do have information like that. We on our Facebook page, which is free. We have 28,000 business owners that are part of our Facebook group where we're constantly providing and training on how to add value and how with incentives and how to to position the incentive, position the disclosures. We also offer, if you don't already have it, your client, if you don't have a good CRM system, we have that as well as an upgraded process, but there's a million places to get a CRM, but your client all of you should have something that automates you're generating leads. What are you doing with them, as you say? And you've got to have a system in place that's sending emails, text messages, voicemail broadcasting, your sales funnel page, et cetera. Yeah. And we do have a product we call Automation Booster that provides all of that, so all under one umbrella, including the Marketing Boost incentives that can be plugged in. And
I noticed that even some of
for our program, but just to give you an idea, those are the steps in marketing that you need to have, regardless of where you get them.
Right. Well, I even noticed some of the even the email providers, right? Your Constant Contact and your MailChimps, whatnot, are starting to get into the CRM game. So like you said, there's 1,000 options out there. It's probably something they already have. So one question that I was kind of going on is that I could see where this could be super beneficial for a lot of business, but what is a common mistake that someone makes with this sort of approach?
It's a great question, actually. One of the things that people do is they have the tendency to give them away like candy. Just to give you an example, when you become a Marketing Boost member, if you become a Marketing Boost member, you have the ability to unlimited amount of these incentives to give away. But that doesn't mean you should give them away like candy, because you've got to create scarcity and urgency to make them believable and make them fit the call to action.
Sure.
That's why I mentioned earlier, micro incentives for micro calls to action. So if you're asking them to join your newsletter, maybe you're giving them a restaurant voucher. Hey, join our newsletter, and you'll also receive a $100 restaurant savings voucher or a $100 hotel savings card, good at 1 million hotels worldwide. But then the big incentive, the complimentary hotel stays, you make them earn it by jumping through a few hoops, such as, you got to buy product A to go with product B. And or something along those lines.
So keep it comparable, right? Don't give away the farm on a relatively small purchase.
Yeah, because you make it sound too good to be true, and instead of helping, it doesn't help at all, or it maybe even hurts. So you've got to make it, that perceived value has got to be along with it would probably work really well in your niche, because there are products that are expensive. And so you can add that value with a higher purchase volume or price to get the folks to step up and get the bigger lens, because the bigger lens includes the complimentary trip and the other one doesn't, or whatever.
I can see it. I was just thinking in terms of most of the people who they don't make a lot of margin on the hardware side, so they generally try to add on accessories or something else that have higher margins. And, the challenge there is, everyone's got the same bags, everyone's got the same lens, so it's difficult to differentiate yourself. So I kind of like this idea of something experiential that they could add on to it.
But with a larger purchases or minimum purchase or a loyalty program, spend X amount and you get this, and so there's different ways to skim that cat. And again, we may not be the only incentive that you end up using. But the key is, whether you sprinkle them in occasionally with your marketing programs or you make them full blown, marketing strategies, they can, incentives work. Psychological tests have been done, run by numerous universities. People respond better to added value bonuses or incentives versus a 10% discount. And we see it in every grocery store you walk in. There's the buy one, get ones. all over the place. And they're just, in most cases, they're practically doubling the price of the canned beans, but they got you to end up buying 2 cans of beans that you didn't even want when you walked in the store. Now you're buying 2 cans of mayo and 2 cans of beans. And they got you for more revenue and a bigger purchase. And you're picking your impulse buy, you're picking up things you didn't even think you needed or wanted. And that might be done with the accessories. Okay, your client's coming in for the camera and the lens, but now you're saying if you get all of these accessory kit, the bundle to go with it,
right?
You buy the camera, but if you bundle it with the bag and the green screen and the thing and the other thing and whatever, boom, boom, we'll give you your choice.
Yeah, that's very common. I mean, that is very common in the industry. But I think, like I said, I think what you're sharing that's very important is sort of keeping it on the same level, keeping it comparable, and really knowing that, and not necessarily doing it every single time, right?
Right.
So
yeah, mixing it up. Doing them occasionally, doing the promotions occasionally, a promo cycle, just like you might do a promo this month. We got 10% off on this thing. Instead of that 10% off, hey, this month we're running this special promotion with this bundle of equipment. If you get this, it includes the following bonus. And I mean, I know it works incredibly well for tons of photographers that we have, and wedding photographers especially. It works. I've seen it done in so many, using it for webinars to grow Facebook followings, to get people to show up for Zoom call presentations and show up on time. I don't know if anyone's doing that type of online presentations with that type of product, but
you not only have to be there on time, you have to actually finish the thing. You can't bug out early.
Exactly. So if you're doing an online class, you can say, "Hey, we're giving away a trip at the end of the webinar, the end of the training, whatever it is. So stay tuned to the end, stay engaged, ask questions. We're going to pick 2 winners at the end of this training call, depending upon who's the most engaged. We're going to give away a trip to Orlando and another one to Las Vegas. You might be the winner. Stay engaged, stay till the end," and so on.
Nice. Well, thank you, Marco, for your time. Can you tell us where people can go for more information on Marketing Boost?
Sure. I hope this gives some of your listeners some ideas here on how to try some different things. Go to marketingboost.com and you can get a 7-day free trial. I do have a special offer, Gary, for your listeners. If you go to marketingboost.com/podcast, you can get 30 days of Marketing Boost for only $1. And I would give myself, the first thing I would recommend you do is give yourself a trip to Cancun so you can check it out. Be an evangelist for the brand. You will love us and love Marketing Boost if you use one of our trips, especially to Cancun right now. We've got some amazing AAA 4-diamond resorts participating in Cancun and Cabo San Lucas.
Great. Well, thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.